How's it going, peeps? Today we're going to be talking about the YBA update that is not released yet. Why am I doing this? Well, I've heard a whole lot of rumblings and a whole lot of rumors, and I basically wanted to address a few of them and talk about my own theories. So there's not going to be a whole lot going on here other than speculation, because in all reality we don't have that much information aside from potential leaks and some stand remodels as well as stone free. So I think a good starting point is probably what's going on with the update. Why is it taking so long? And I think I have an answer for this. Obviously, it all comes down to speculation, but I'm pretty sure my answer is the most accurate that I've heard so far. There's a lot of people that are saying yada yada yada, Uzu's just lazy, you know, the usual stuff. But I actually don't know if that's what's going on this time. And don't get me wrong, I think that's usually the right answer. That he just doesn't want to make it and that's why it's taking so long. But this time around, I don't think it's that. And the first little nugget of, I guess, evidence, quote unquote, that I would use to kind of prove my point is the fact that Stone Free is pretty much done, if not completely done already at this very moment. Uzu in his little update saying that he was coming back and that his school was finished posted a huge move list for Stone Free, and in that little sneak peek, he said that the moves were ready for Stone Free. So I assume that means they're done. And there's a lot of moves on that little image. So I can only assume that the stand is basically done. Now, that of course begs the question, if Stone Free is done, then what the hell is taking them so long? And this is where I think a lot of people have lost their way, because they're assuming that Stone Free isn't done and Stone Free is what's taking so long, but I don't think that's it. I think what's actually going on here is that Uzu knows full well that people that are dumb think that this update has been in development for like a year. We haven't seen a stand in a year, so that must mean that the new stand has been in development for a year. Well, it technically has been in development for a year. Development hell, that is, where it's had to have been rewritten and all this other nonsense. But the point is, if people waited an entire year and then all that came with the update was one new stand, what do you think the community reception would be? If you said absolutely awesome and everyone would be happy, you'd be dead f***ing wrong. Are you an idiot? No, people would be pissed, and I don't want to say rightfully so, but I can see why they would be. Waiting a year for new content and then getting one thing is, it's a little bit more than jarring, I would go as far to say. And so when it comes down to it, the reason that I think that the update is taking so long is because Uzu's working on something else in order to make sure that the update isn't just Stone Free. And that, of course, gets into the rumors of the new map, and apparently Paragon leaked pictures of the new map or whatever, and I think most, if not all of this is speculation. Now, whether it's good or bad speculation doesn't really matter, because I don't think that that's super official. What is official, and what we do know we're getting at the very least, is Stone Free and a fair few remodels for stands. Most notably, I believe there was D4C Love Train and The World, and maybe some others that I'm forgetting about. Hopefully I can put the images on screen if I can find them. But assuming on that new map point that a new map is actually coming and it's not replacing the current map but being an add-on to the current map, you have to stop, think, and consider exactly how long it would take to put together a new map. Because when it comes to the new map, it's not just a map that has to be modeled. It's a map that has to be modeled, but there also has to be a reason to go to wherever this map is. So what it's for is probably the bigger question. Is it a new map for 1v1s or 2v2s? Is it a new map for a completely new game mode? Or is it a new map for main game? And depending on which one of those it could possibly be is going to dictate exactly how long it's going to take to be finished. Because if it's something for a new game mode, it might take a while depending on the systems that need to be implemented for that map. If it's a new map for 1v1s or 2v2s, then that's easy peasy, I can only assume. And if it's a new map for main game, then that's gonna take forever, because they're gonna need to code the map, they're gonna need to code a bunch of NPCs so that there's actually a reason to go there, and really it's just a whole lot more work than just, haha, let's go put together a map on the weekend. Now that being said, the one thing that I'll say that I actually really hope we finally get in this update is free spec storage, even if it doesn't really hold much weight for me anymore. I'm at the point where I have so many accounts and so many different specs. With trading, I can basically choose to use whatever spec with whatever stand I want, while also remaining semi-anonymous, aside from a few leaks that I've had problems with. So for me, free spec storage, unfortunately, it's taken so long to come out that it doesn't mean a whole lot. But as a moral victory, I think free spec storage finally coming after the unbelievably and unforgivable amount of time that it's not been available, that's needed at this point. If that's not part of this update, I don't even know what I'm gonna say. That would be depressing. And you should write that down, because then you'll be able to see me depressed whenever this thing drops. The other things that I think we're going to assume that we can see is stand balances and such. And honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen on this front, because Paragon put out that big list of changes. I've talked to him about it on a lot of separate occasions. And honestly, I have no idea how much Uzu actually pays any attention or cares at all about what Paragon says in the balancing polls or in his document or what he says to him personally. And I also don't know how much faith I have in Uzu actually being able to successfully implement the balance changes, because there's some stuff that he's said he's fixed that just never were. The KCR impale hit people on the ground nonsense, I mean, you're probably seeing it right now. You can still do that. Why can you still do that? It literally said it was supposed to be patched, and yet it's still here. Now, if those changes were implemented, I think there's going to be an absolute meta meltdown, because a lot of those changes would completely remove or gut stands that are currently extremely strong. And I don't even think I need to say arguably, because we've all seen it. They're just straight up objectively too strong. It seems like most stands that are meta or have some ridiculous cheese, if we go off the balance changes, would get their cheese removed. And if those stands lose their cheese tactics, I think a lot of them would still be really strong, but the overall shift in stands you can and can't use would be drastically different. And when it comes to that, I'm all for it, because the current YBA meta kinda sucks. As much as I love getting one shot by Time Stop and one shot by Conqueror's Will, and basically just being completely unable to use some of the non-TS resistant stands because Time Stop is so unbelievably strong that it can just one-shot you, yeah, needless to say, I'm kinda tired of that. As for highlights on changes that I really hope happen, the number one thing on there is definitely the Tusk Nails fix, which I've been crusading for since the beginning of time, really. I'm so tired of my nails not working. I'm so tired of them getting stuck. I'm so tired of my wormholes just disappearing because someone goes next to a tree or a wall. And if those things were patched, it would really just make my day. And the other one is being able to use time skip while in rage with any of the rage time stop stands, because just having time stop completely gated off for me basically when I use those stands, especially when you consider the fact that the world's whole thing is supposed to be time stop. And yeah, I don't even buy that, because not having time skip and rage can be so punishing. Having the ability to choose when to use the time stop and still have the rage mode and time skip is something that maybe people would say that's overpowered, but it's absolutely something you should be able to do. And if they need to somehow balance around that, I don't think the balance should be you can't use one of your moves because it's related to the other one, because continuity-wise, that doesn't make any sense. If we go play the world over Heaven or Star Plat in the world, you can still time skip and then time stop with those stands. So, I don't know. It's a bit annoying. I really hope it gets patched. And obviously there's a whole lot of other things on there. I think I made a video talking about the whole balance pulse thing. I don't know if I did. Maybe I'll just do a huge rundown of all of it at some point if I haven't done that already. But even if there's a lot of stuff on there that I almost certainly disagree with, I can't argue with the fact that those things that I disagree with would radically change the way some things play. And so even if I don't think that it should happen, if it radically changes the way things play, I think at the end of the day, it's a good thing compared to the status quo. And the final thing that I think needs to be addressed is, when is the update coming? That's the question on everyone's mind. And of course, my answer to you is, I have no fucking clue. Why do you ask me that? I do have to throw you guys some props though, because when YBA stopped getting updates, I used to get messages out the ass, constantly asking me when the update was, as if I knew anything about it. But nowadays, that doesn't happen anymore. So thank you. I appreciate you for not being stupid. I don't know when the update's coming, and every time I speculate on it, I'm dead fucking wrong. So this time around, I'm not even gonna speculate. I'm gonna sit here, just like the rest of you, and wait. With that though, I'm done here. I didn't have too much structure. I just wanted to chat a bit about my thoughts and knock out a video because, you know, that's what I do. So now that we're at the end, I'll tell you the things that I always say. Subscribe, like. If you haven't already, turn those notifications on to all so you actually get notified when I post things. And yeah, with all that being said, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.